So why are people broke? Is it usually lack of money? Well, obviously the reason for people being broke is that their expenditure is above their income or the same as their income. So they've always got zero wealth, and the last 2 or 3 days before paycheck, they're living paycheck to paycheck. But more specifically, how can people avoid this situation? Now, obviously at the lower end of the spectrum, lack of income is a huge thing, right? Obviously, if you've got a student who's living off a few $1,000s a year, of course, no matter how good their spending habits are, they're probably always going to be even, right? Or at most, they're going to be able to invest, a little amount of money. And in that case, getting a part-time job, but then just not spending much of that extra income would make sense. But for most people out there, at least in developed countries, actually lack of income isn't the main thing. It's often things like Parkinson's law. So what is Parkinson's law? Parkinson's law in finance is where your expenditure meets your income. In other words, as your income goes up, your expenditure goes up. So a good example, most people here, probably you're earning 5-10 times more than you were when you were 21 or a student, but are you saving and investing 5 or 10 times more? Maybe not, because at the end of the day your expectations go up, your spending goes up. So how can you avoid this situation? Now, I find some very simple tips can help. Now, number one, I would say writing down a budget on pen and paper helps. In other words, you have all these great apps, all these budgeting apps, and they're great, right? I mean, they're convenient or whatever, but a lot of analysis shows if you write down a budget with pen and paper, it obligates you, it keeps it in your mind more than just on the computer. Number two is make a specific budget to that month. Most people don't do that, but always make a specific budget. At the end of the day, you can have a master budget and you can just change it. It takes you 5 minutes a month maybe. After you've made the first budget, just change it month by month. And number three, always remember that people deep down don't care. In other words, Churchill, one of Winston Churchill's great quotes is, when you're 20, you care about what everyone thinks about you. When you're 40, you stop caring about what other people think about you. And when you're 60, you realize that nobody cared about you in the first place. Let's face it, right, most of you, I could be wearing a hole in my shirt right now. Most people wouldn't notice, because most people, or everyone, it's just human nature. You're thinking about me, my job, my mortgage, my kids, so blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people still get in the habit of overspending just because of peer pressure, because they think other people care. A great example is something like a Rolex watch. Can you actually realistically tell the difference between watch A and watch B? Probably not. It's just a status symbol. So always avoid that, because a lot of research has shown that the average person, say in America or many developed countries, making $35,000 a year is more likely to buy luxury products than someone earning $150,000 a year, because they're getting broke by just trying to impress random people. And finally, I would say, is focus on the small things. A good example of that is this. Let's say you're paid $50,000 now. Let's keep it simple and say it's after tax, and you're spending $49,000. Now let's say you negotiate just a 10% pay rise, so now you're going to $55,500, and you reduce your spending by about 10%, so you're spending now about $45,000. You've gone from a $1,000 surplus to about a $15,000 surplus, and all you've done is negotiated a 10% pay rise. And in addition to that, you have negotiated, or shall we say, you have spent 10% less. So a 10% improvement on this side and a 10% improvement on that side leads to actually a 1,500% increase in your surplus. So looking at those simple things, that's why writing down the budget helps as well, because these small things, reducing 10% is easy. That could just be something as easy as, well, you're spending $20 at the moment on wine. Why don't you spend $17? And it's the same quality. But you get my point. It's quite easy just to cut 10%. And just to increase your salary by 10% is a great example of the 80-20 rule. Believe it or not, a lot of research which has gone into negotiation has said the best negotiation technique is just to ask. Right? It sounds so simple, but often if you just ask for a pay rise or negotiate it, obviously it depends on many things like the economy, the industry, the country you're living in. It's obviously easier to negotiate a pay rise if you're in a company or an industry which is growing very fast compared to one which is growing slow. But often just asking, just spending 5-10 seconds a year asking for a pay rise can lead to a 5, 10 or even sometimes 12 or more % pay rise. Okay everyone, I look forward to your comments, and have a good day.